You're 3 minutes into a client call, camera on, everyone watching, and then your screen freezes, right in the middle of your sentence.
Not a big freeze, not a crash, just stuck.
45 seconds. Frozen face, mouth half open, on a shared screen with 6 people.
I didn't know if they could still hear me. I didn't know if I should keep talking, or stop, or just wait.
So Kai did all three, at the same time.
I said hello 4 times, to a frozen picture of my own face.
Today, what actually happens when tech fails you mid-sentence, and the 4 words that save the moment.
Welcome back to English in the Wild. I'm Alex.
And I'm Kim, who has never once had a call freeze at the worst possible moment. Never.
One real workplace situation, broken down into English you can actually use. Today, what to say when the technology breaks and you can't.
Real situations, real people, real language.
This one isn't about saying the smart thing. It's about staying calm when you can't control anything at all.
With us again, Kai, who lived through 45 very long seconds, and Professor Maya, who's going to explain why silence feels so much worse over video than it actually is.
Kai, walk us through it. Whose call was this?
It was a check-in with a client in London, 3 of them, 2 of us. I was giving the update on the rollout. I was mid-sentence, something like, so the next phase will start once we've... And then my face just stopped.
Stopped how?
Frozen, mouth open, one eyebrow up like I was about to make a point. For 45 seconds, that's the face they saw.
Oh no.
And here's the thing, I didn't know it had frozen. From my side, everything looked fine. I kept talking.
So you kept going, into silence.
I kept going into silence. For a while I thought maybe they were just letting me finish. Then I thought maybe I'd been kicked off the call and didn't know it.
What did you actually say once you realized something was wrong?
I said, sorry, can everyone still see me? 4 times, getting louder each time.
Like the frozen picture was going to answer.
Like the frozen picture was going to answer. Eventually someone unmuted and said, Kai, you've been frozen for about a minute. We can hear you, we just can't see you move. And I had no idea what to say back.
Maya, why does a frozen screen feel so much worse than, say, a bad phone line?
Because on a video call, we read faces as much as we read words. When the face freezes, the room loses its normal signals. Nobody knows if the other person is still listening, still there, or gone completely.
So it's not really a tech problem, it's a not knowing what's happening problem.
Exactly that. And not knowing is what makes people panic, not the freeze itself. Here's what actually happens in that gap. Kai didn't know if he was heard. The client didn't know if Kai knew he'd frozen. Both sides were guessing, and both sides guessed wrong. Let's give that gap a name, the uncertainty gap. It's the space between something going wrong and someone saying so out loud. Almost everything in today's episode is about closing that gap faster.
So we were both confused about the same thing at the same time, and neither of us said it out loud.
Right. And in that gap, most people do one of 2 things. They either go completely silent, which reads as dead air, or they keep talking into nothing, which reads as slightly unhinged.
I've done the second one, talking to a screen that clearly isn't moving.
Almost everyone has, and it happens because in your language, in a stressful moment, you default to filling the silence, even when filling it makes things worse.
Does the uncertainty gap hit harder if English isn't your first language?
Often, yes. And not just because the words are harder to find. Naming a problem out loud, live, on a call, already feels risky. If you're also working harder than everyone else just to keep up in the conversation, speaking up can feel like it draws attention you don't want, like you're blaming the technology or interrupting a meeting you're already trying not to slow down. So the instinct is to go quiet and hope it resolves itself, which feels careful. It's actually the most expensive option in the room.
So what should you actually do instead?
You name the problem out loud immediately in one short sentence. That's it. That one move closes the uncertainty gap almost every time.
Okay, what's the actual sentence?
3 moves. All 3 work by doing the same thing, turning silence into information. Move 1, name what you see or don't see. Something like, I think I've frozen. Can you still hear me? 4 words that do the whole job. I think I've frozen.
So instead of guessing, I just say the guess out loud.
Exactly. You turn your own confusion into the one piece of information the room actually needs. Move 2. If you're not sure whether it's your screen or theirs, ask instead of assume. Can everyone still see me moving is safer than my screen must be frozen because you might be wrong about where the problem is.
What if you already know it's you, like your Wi-Fi icon just dropped?
Move 3. When you're sure it's on your end, don't over-explain, just flag it and hand off. My connection's dropping, bear with me for a second. Then when you're back, looks like I'm back, thanks for your patience.
So move 1 and 2 are for when you're not sure. Move 3 is for when you are.
Exactly. 3 different situations, one shared move underneath. Say it out loud immediately in one sentence.
So you're not trying to sound smart about the tech. You're just trying to close the gap fast.
Right. Nobody remembers whether you correctly diagnosed a bad connection. They remember whether you handled it like it was no big deal.
Name the freeze, ask, don't assume, flag it and hand off. 3 moves.
And all 3 share the same goal: replace 45 seconds of silence with one honest sentence and close the uncertainty gap before it grows.
Kai, if you could go back, what's the one thing you wouldn't do again?
Say hello 4 times to my own frozen face. That's the one thing.
The classic move.
It feels like the safe thing to do. Just keep checking in quietly until someone answers. But from their side, it just looked like I disappeared and come back confused.
That's the trap almost everyone falls into here. We could call it the waiting trap. You wait for the problem to explain itself instead of naming it yourself.
So waiting felt careful, but it actually made things worse.
The freeze isn't the awkward part. The silence about the freeze is the awkward part.
So the mental shift is just speak up the second something feels wrong, instead of hoping it fixes itself.
Exactly. Say what's happening the moment you notice it. Waiting for certainty just makes the gap longer.
But what if I say I think I've frozen, and actually I hadn't? What if it was fine the whole time and I just made it awkward for nothing?
That's exactly what stopped me from saying it once.
Fair worry, but think about the cost on each side. If you say it and you were wrong, you lose 2 seconds and a small laugh. If you say nothing and you were right, you lose 45 seconds and the room's trust. Naming it costs you almost nothing. Not naming it can cost you the whole meeting.
So it's not really a risk, it just feels like one in the moment.
That's it exactly. Most people overestimate how awkward the sentence will sound and underestimate how awkward the silence already is.
It felt riskier to speak up than to just wait it out. It's actually the opposite.
That's usually how it goes.
Let's practice. Kim, you're mid-sentence on a call, and you're honestly not sure if your screen froze.
So the next step would be to send the updated file by... Wait, actually, I think I've frozen. Can everyone still see me moving?
Clean. You noticed. You named it. You asked. All in one breath.
Wait, Maya. What if someone answers right away and says, no, you're frozen, and now I have to keep talking without knowing what they missed?
Great edge case. Add one more short line. Let me know where I cut out and I'll pick it back up from there. That hands the gap back to them instead of guessing what they heard.
So you're not just fixing the freeze, you're fixing the confusion about what they missed.
Exactly. Now, the delivery. Say it like you're mildly annoyed at your Wi-Fi, not embarrassed about yourself. Natural speed. I think I've frozen. Can you still hear me? I think I've frozen. Can you still hear me?
I think I've frozen. Can you still hear me?
Good. Full speed.
I think I've frozen. Can you still hear me?
Kai, your line, let me know where I cut out and I'll pick it back up.
Let me know where I cut out, and I'll pick it back up.
Good pace, just land cut out a touch more clearly. That's the key detail. Once more.
Let me know where I cut out, and I'll pick it back up.
There it is. One more for when you already know it's your connection, not theirs. Kim, bear with me for a second. I'll be right back.
Bear with me for a second. I'll be right back.
Good. Kai, the return line. Looks like I'm back. Thanks for your patience.
Looks like I'm back. Thanks for your patience.
Perfect pairing. One line to exit the call gracefully, one line to re-enter it gracefully. If you remember nothing else, name it, ask, move on. Last one, both of you. No big deal. Happens all the time. Kim, you first.
No big deal. Happens all the time.
Kai, your turn.
No big deal. Happens all the time.
Notice, none of these four phrases explain the technology. They just close the uncertainty gap fast and move the meeting forward. That's the whole skill.
Kai, once you finally said something, what happened?
Someone just said, oh yeah, you cut out around once we've go ahead. And I picked it back up in about 2 seconds. It was completely normal after that.
So the whole thing was way bigger in your head than it was in the room.
Way bigger. In my head, it was a disaster. On their end, it was 3 seconds of a normal Tuesday. I spent 45 seconds panicking. They spent 45 seconds waiting. That's it. That's the whole gap.
Did anyone say anything afterward?
One of them messaged me after the call. Good save on the freeze, happens to all of us. That was it. Nobody remembered the freeze. They remembered that I handled it.
And that's the real point of today's episode. Nobody expects perfect internet. They notice how calm you sound when it fails.
Remember the cost we talked about. Closing the uncertainty gap costs you about 2 seconds. So does this. Hit subscribe right now before you forget. 2 seconds. No big deal.
And tell us, what's the longest awkward silence you've ever had on a call? Not what you wish happened, what actually happened.
Comment below. I think I've frozen. Or your own version of it. One sentence is enough. 3 moves from today. First, name the freeze the second you notice it. Don't wait for it to explain itself. Second, if you're not sure whose side the problem's on, ask instead of assume and hand the gap back to the room. Let me know where I cut out. Third, if you already know it's you, don't over-explain, just flag it and close it. Bear with me for a second, then, looks like I'm back. And the principle behind all 3, the freeze isn't the awkward part. The silence about the freeze is. Nobody remembers the glitch. They remember how you handled the uncertainty gap right after it.
And the bonus lesson from the person who messaged Kai after the call happens to all of us might be the most underrated 4 words in remote work.
That's a lot of words for just say the awkward thing out loud immediately.
Next week, Kim has a story that starts with a typo in a group email and ends with her boss's boss replying all. We're going to break down what you say when you've made a mistake that everyone can already see.
Subscribe. I still think about that reply all sometimes.
English in the wild, real English, real situations, real results.